Hey guys, it's the Jace man of Jace Love Strength. I'm back with you guys again for another quick video. We're not going to take a long time on this one. Basically, we're going to look at who is heading to the World's Strongest Man final this weekend and what might have happened had they all been competing heads up rather than in these groups, okay? So as of now, your World's Strongest Man final tomorrow looks like this. Maxime Boudreau, Mitchell Hooper, Ethor Melstead, Martins Lises, Trey Mitchell, Alexei Novikov, Gabriel Riomme, Brian Shaw, and the Stoltman brothers, Luke and Tom. As of right now, that's what it looks like your World's Strongest Man final looks like tomorrow. But we kind of wondered, what would it look like if there had been no groups? What if everyone had been forced to compete heads up against one of all 30 men? And so what we did is we took the results, and I'm going to clarify this before I show you how it worked out because I do need to talk about day three. Basically, the day three qualifier results go out the window, and I'll explain why in just a moment. There is a method to our madness. We tried to make it as fair as we possibly could. Obviously, there's no way to make it perfect because of the way the competition is carried out, but I think this was as close as we could come. So we have no results for the wrecking ball hold. We don't have a stone off. Now, we do have a stone off to talk about potentially with the way that we did things, because there's going to be a special at the end of this, but we have no wrecking ball hold. And the reason we don't have a wrecking ball hold included is because of the domination of each group leaders. It basically meant that they did not have to go out and compete in the wrecking ball hold. And so one gentleman, Luke Stoltman, won his group by so much that he didn't even do the wrecking ball hold at all. So we would have no time to credit him for it to give him a ranking. And it wouldn't be fair to say that he would not have. It wouldn't be fair to say he would have held it for 0 seconds. Two of the others, Tom Stoltman and Mitchell Hooper, held on for just the shortest amount of time. They just picked up their little gift point and went away. Martins Lises and Alexei Novikov, they did hold, but I don't know if it was their best effort or not. I don't understand why they held, but they did. But I can't say for sure they gave it all they had, and I don't feel comfortable crediting them with that full result. Either way, though, the one thing is certain is that not everyone competed, nor everyone had to compete. So it seems weird to just make up some random number and stick them in there. So we're gonna do away with the wrecking ball hold, but we're gonna look at everything that happened in events 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the first 2 days of competition, and that's who's gonna make our 10-man final. Okay. So again, as of now, your 10-man final is Boudreau, Mitchell Hooper, Melstead, Lises, Trey Mitchell, Alexei Novikov, Gabriel Riomme, Brian Shaw, and the Stoltman brothers, Luke and Tom. But if things had played out just a little bit differently, so when we look at this right now, what we're going to do is we're going to sort by the loading race, okay? If you look at the loading race, here's top to bottom how they would have finished. A win for Novikov, Lises, Stoltman, Hooper, and Stoltman. Luke beating Tom. So those are your top five finishers, and that's probably what we're going to do for this. We're going to look at the top five finishers and then look at how it all shakes out at the end. So Novikov, Lises, Stoltman, Hooper, and Tom, the defending champion, are your top five finishers in the loading race. If we look at the deadlift ladder, it looks like this. Now we have Mitchell Hooper at the top. Yep, Mitchell Hooper beat everyone. Alexei Novikov, Adam Bishop, Brian Thompson, and Martins Lises. If they were competing heads up rather than groups, that's who would have finished your top five. In the car walk, or we could call it the car run, because some of these times are amazing, especially if your name is Evan Singleton. Evan Singleton gets 30 points here with a sub 10-second time. Rob Kearney beating Mitchell Cooper by 1/100th of a second. Look at this, guys, 11.63 versus 11.64. That is nuts that it's 1/100th of a second apart from them. But there's your second and third. And then Pavlo Cordiaka getting fourth place, and Mark Felix taking fifth overall in the car walk. So big ups to Mark there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and look at our final event, the log lift. Now, something special to mention about this one too. These numbers are a little bit strange because the World's Strongest Man did not tell us about any of the times that it took to lift these. All we got reported to us was the reps. So when you've got 30 guys competing against one another for reps, it's kind of hard to sit there and say who wins. There's a lot of shared points here. So what we did is we took, like, if they were counting for like two places. So let's say the top two guys get 29 and a half. Instead of getting 30, they're taking the first and second place worth of points. So that's 30 plus 29, 59. We took the number of total points for the group and divided it by the size of the group. So Luke Stoltman and Maxime Boudreau tie and split 29 and a half points, or I guess they get 29 and a half points each, splitting 59. Pavlo Kordiaka, Alexei Novikov, Martins Lisis, and Trey Mitchell round out your top five. Basically, those guys get 26 and a half points apiece. So when you look at everything, basically what you have is you have a 10-man final of Alexei Novikov with the most points overall at 108.5. Mitchell Hooper, second most points with 103.5. Martins Lisis in your third place position with 99.5. Tom Stoltman with 98. Luke Stoltman with 93.5. Pavlo Kordiaka with 83.5 points for your eighth place finisher. Bobby Thompson didn't need that stone off that did him in. He finishes with ninth place overall and heads to the final. And then Trey Mitchell in the 10th place position makes it to the final. So if they had competed heads up, it might have looked like that. But then we did something crazy. We'd actually like to see a bigger final. And by we, I mean me and my group of streamers. We got together and we said, let's make it a 12-man final. Now, who gets in there? We didn't decide to just go 11th and 12th. We could have did that. What we decided to do was do something interesting. Since stone-offs we don't love, so we took positions 11, 12, 13, 14th, and 15th. Okay, so now we took these gentlemen here. That's Bishop, Bilton, Ferris, Shaw, and Max. They had your 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th most points. We took them and we decided you guys are going to be in a stone off. Not competing against each other individually, one on one like that, but all five guys go at the same time. We handed them a 160 kilogram stone since that's one of the stones that they use, and we just picked one at random. We put a bar up there. We said, okay, fellas, you guys have got 90 seconds to race against one another. You pick that sucker up, you drop it over the bar, you run back around, you pick the thing up, you drop it back over the bar, and you keep doing that until that time expires. And then we decided who was going to have the most stones when everything was all said and done. And this is where we landed. Our wild card would mean that Max would take this event, beating out Brian Shaw. Why? Because of the speed involved, the running around, the endurance, the stamina, and the fact that, again, Brian hasn't looked that great. So we gave Max our fifth most points in the wild card. We said that Brian Shaw would get 4. So he moves on. So those are your two guys in our 12-man final. You're going to take our original 10, and we're going to add Boudreau and Shaw. Ferris finished third in our mythical thing. Gabe in fourth, and Rob Kearney took the fifth position. And we debated this for several minutes before we came out with these results. So we'd have a 12-man final again, consisting of Novikov, Hooper, Lisis, Stoltman, Kordiaka, Thompson, Mitchell, Boudreau, and Brian Shaw. So that's what our mythical 10-man final would look like. And plus 2, I guess our 12-man final, right? One final comparison between the two. We're going to go over here. There's the actual 10 men who are competing. Boudreau, Hooper, Melstead, Lisis, Mitchell, Novikov, Rayom, Shaw, Stoltman, and Tom. And if they had been going heads up, it would have been Novikov, Hooper, Lisis, Stoltman, Pavlo, Bobby Thompson, Trey Mitchell, Adam Bishop, Gavin Bilton. That's what it would have looked like. I actually think that's a much more fair way to do things. But again, we have to point out this does not include the grip event. There was a stone off for our wild card positions, which you just heard now, made Max Boudreau and Brian Shaw advance. And that's what it might have looked like had There been no freaking groups. What do you guys think? Would you prefer to see the world's strongest man operate that way in the future, or do you like the groups? Let me know.